So welcome to our session on screencasting. Once again, I'm Katie Carnes and I work here at CC. Just to get a quick gauge of where everybody's at, who knows what screencasting is? And who has done a screencast before? Or even a screen capture, they're kind of called different things. Okay, awesome. So we've got a kind of a mixture of expertise here, so that's great. But yeah, screencasting is one thing that it's a really powerful tool and one that we highly, highly recommend, especially if you're teaching an online or hybrid class. But even if you're not, there are some really great ways, and I'll talk about some ways you can use in a face-to-face class, ways you can use screencasting for your classroom. So all right, well let's get started. Let's see. Also, raise your hand if you're using a PC today. Okay, most people, and Macs. Just one Mac, two Macs? Okay, awesome. iPad, okay, great. No problem. All right, what is screencasting? So, screencasting is also known as a screen recording, screen capture, or screen cam. There's lots of different words for it. I call it screencasting. So basically what it is it's a digital video recording of your screen. A lot of times it has video narration or it has a webcam also in display. So there's lots of different ways you can do it, but it's a digital recording of your screen. And what we're going to talk about today is why you should use screencasting, how to do screencasting, and when you should use screencasting. So kind of those different ideas. All right, the benefits of screencasts. This can also be synonymous with the benefits of using video in your course. We're big proponents of video here at CC, and especially screencasting as well. So a lot of these things you could just interchange the word screencast for video. But one of the top benefits of using screencasting is the ease of accessibility. This way that it is available 24/7 to your students, and this information is available 24/7 to your students. Also, it means that they don't have to bug you at 1 a.m. on the weekend because you already have a screencast that covers any questions that they may have. So it also frees up some time for you and puts up some boundaries. Take a look at my screencast. I've already answered these questions. It's available anytime you need, even if you're working on your homework at 4 a.m. So that's one of the great things about screencasting. The personal touch. One of the biggest things that challenges about having an online class is that students don't always get a feel for their instructor's personality and that personal element to a classroom that you might get in a face-to-face or a hybrid classroom. And we're relational beings, and so having that personal touch can connect and engage your students there's no better way to do that, is to show your personality, and that's really hard to do in an online class. And the best way to do it is to show your face and to introduce yourself and to show your personality and for them to hear your voice. That connection is really so valuable, and no matter what, it's one of the top engaging ways top ways you can engage your students in your course. So another thing too, and I'll talk as well about one way you can use screencasting is providing feedback, especially if it's constructive feedback. Sometimes context is everything, so the way that you say something might be misconstrued or be taken offense, but if you're saying it, if they hear your voice, if they hear the inflection, then they're given context, and the blow may not be as tough, or maybe an offense was, it's never intended, but hearing your voice can really make all the difference when providing feedback. Speed comprehension. So just like a picture is worth 1,000 words, 1 minute of video is worth 1.8 million words. So if you have a lot of information, the best way to display that is with video and with imagery. So it allows for a more effective use of your classroom time, and it also frees up a lot of time for you as an instructor, so you don't have to be working on the minutia of details. Or if you're in a class and you're constantly getting a question about a technical process that they have to go through, if you've already sent them a screencast of that technical process, they can come to class and you can have more in-depth discussions, and you can really get to the heart of the content rather than having to work on, okay, have you turned on your computer? Have you done this or this? Have you checked your email? All this other stuff. You can get that out of the way by automating some of these processes. So that's one of the best things about screencasting. Recall and retention, there's this picture superiority effect. So without imagery, only 6% of the concept was recalled 72 hours later when it was just text, and with imagery, 60% of the content was recalled 72 hours later. So images stick with us more, and same with video and whatnot, that we're able to connect a lot better with recall and retention. All right, so that's why you should use a screencast. When to use a screencast. You can be as creative as you want with screencasting, and I really think that the options are endless here. Some of the best ways to think about when you can incorporate a screencast is if there are common questions that you're getting, and that might be a good thing to start writing down, almost like for your course, having a frequently asked questions screencast series, if that makes sense. So just something that you're constantly getting back from students. If you do have certain media, or if they need to go to a certain website that you're directing them to, or a process, or instructions for any sort of project that they're working on, something like that, then if you make a screencast if you're saying the same thing over and over and over again to students, you make a screencast once, you're done. You can just email that to them and say, see my screencast. You don't need to ask me this 100 times. So that's a great way to free up time for you. In-depth assignment instructions as well, just really give an idea of what you're looking for, give your students context, anything like that. One thing I know Steph mentioned to me today, she's in a course now, and a professor, before the beginning of every module or something along those lines, they give an overview of what they expect, of how to navigate the module, what they should do in the course, and all that kind of stuff. And just giving that introduction can really help your students. And just say, okay, here we go. This is what you need to do. And that's what you would do in an online class, probably, or in an in-person class, is you would tell your students, okay, this is what I'm expecting. And so just writing out instructions, a lot of times you're going to lose students. And a lot of times you'll find that they will not follow those directions if they're written out. But if you say that to them, and if you explain it, and if they see your face, then you'll have a better connection to get them to follow the instructions. All right, recording lessons. If you have PowerPoints, I'm going to show you some ways today that you might be able to incorporate if you have PowerPoints like I have now in your courses, or that you've been using PowerPoints for lectures in your face-to-face classroom and you don't know how to transition that to online. Screencasting is a great way to do that. So that's just one way that students can access this information anytime as well. So also, if you want to send your students the lesson or the lecture before they come to class or at any time, then you can then save your classroom time for discussion, like almost the beforehand reading. So you don't have to spend all your class time lecturing or giving them the content, and then you can actually focus on deep diving with your students in a discussion framework. All right, yeah, creating video tutorials on navigating your course in D2L. That's just the same thing with common questions or procedures. So if there's just consistently, if you're having them do something in particular, or if they're having trouble finding something in their D2L course, then you can record your screen and tell them where to go and navigate that process. And then also one of my favorite ways to do, and I just mentioned this, one of my favorite ways to use screencasting is with feedback, is for them to actually see your face. And if you're providing feedback, I think that's just a great way. You could even record, just grab your phone. I think I had a question earlier about how maybe you could use your phone for something like this. Just grab your phone, flip the camera around, and record your feedback and send it to them. And I think that would make all the difference, rather than writing something out and for things to get lost in translation. So it's quick and easy. It's also probably faster. If you have your thoughts in your mind, just getting them down on paper can sometimes be take a longer time, but that personal touch and really connecting with your student really shows them that you care and connects them more to the content. All right, so let's start screencasting. I'm going to show you two tools, and what I would like for you guys to do is, just because we've got a lot of different devices, if you wouldn't mind, we'll just follow along for right now. I wish that I could take everybody step by step, but that might take us, all the way into the afternoon because we've all got different processes on our computers, different operating systems, all different things. So if you'll just follow along with me right now, and then afterwards, I'm happy to answer any questions. And all of this information and this screen recording will be available, like I said, afterwards on our YouTube channel and on Facebook Live. So if you get home and you forgot everything, then all of this will be available again to you. And I have my card and access. You can always contact me for any questions that you have. So like I said, right now, let's just go ahead and if you'll just follow along. All right. So first I'm going to show Screencast-O-Matic. I wanted to show ways that anyone, so if you have a PC, this is a great option. Mac users, we do have a built-in tool called QuickTime that will record our screen. PC users, you do have one. It's a bit of a workaround, as far as I can tell, because I'm not a regular PC user, so I might be mistaken, but as far as I could tell, the only way that you have built into your computer a screen recording tool is the Xbox Live app, which it's a little bit clunky to get to. You have to create an Xbox account, but you have it available. You just pull up the game bar and record your screen. So that's the only way that I have found built in. But if you are a PC user, like I said, Screencast-O-Matic, or if you're a Mac user as well, is a great tool for screencasting, and it's free. So that's the best part. All right. Oh, you know what? I already had that going. All right, so let's see. Can you guys see that okay? Should I make this bigger? There we go. Is that better? All right. So this is Screencast-O-Matic, and what you would have to do is first you download the recorder onto your, you may have to download that into your downloads and download the application. But then all you do is you launch the free recorder. We'll see if it'll go. Did it go for me? There we go. All right, and then this screen will pop up, and I'm going to show you a bit of what some of these look like. All right, so first things first, so you have this screen capture window available to you, and it automatically pops up. The default is the size is 720p, and that's a good average. It's kind of your best bet. If you want to go higher resolution, you can. I wouldn't go lower resolution. I would go higher if you want to, but it's going to make your file size larger. So 720p is kind of a good average, good baseline. If you do have the option with this window here that you can, let's see if it'll let me do this. You can bring the sides in. So if you just want to record a tiny part of your screen, you can do that. If you do that, then the export will have two bars on the side, so two black bars covering your the two sides. So it's not like you're going to export something with the dimensions of 622 by 720. So I don't know if that quite makes sense, but I would just say best bet, stick with 720p. The downfall of this free version of the Screencast-O-Matic is that your maximum time to record is 15 minutes. However, we do recommend that you keep your videos short. Actually, the sweet spot is 2 minutes long. You want to keep your videos 2 minutes long. If you have a ton of information, then just chunk your material, and that will make it so much easier for your students as well, because then they can go back and not have to scroll through a 20-minute video and try to find the answer to their question. So I would recommend 15 minutes is a great, if you have a long lecture, that's totally fine to use 15 minutes, but really ideally your videos, you just want them to be about 2 to 5 minutes long. And if you go over, then just make multiple videos. So there we go. All right, Oh, yeah.
Not a silly question, but could you increase that size or just only that's the maximum and then the window can fit?
Oh, no, yeah, you could do full screen if you wanted. Yeah, you could do the whole thing. Yeah, yeah, you can make it your full screen, absolutely. And actually, thank you for saying that. If you want to go ahead and record your full screen, and you find later that you just wanted a certain part of it, there are some video editing tools that will allow you to crop in post-production, if that makes sense. So I always feel like it's better to have more content or more information and then just cut it out later. So that's a great point, is to go ahead and record your full screen. All right, so it gives you, you can do your just the screen, or you can also add a webcam. Let's see if it's going to let me do that. There we go. Is that creating an infinity effect? So yeah, you can also just do your webcam, or you can do both. So you kind of see down there at the bottom that I've got the webcam in the screen. And it's not going to show up right now from my view. It's showing up almost a little hazy, but that's just the view that I'm in. The export will have it full resolution. So right now it's a little transparent, but that won't be what the export looks like. It's just for the screen. All right, let's see. So narration. Right now I can tell that whatever mic is set up is picking up noise because those green bars are going back and forth. But that is definitely one thing, best practice, is check your audio before you get started. I can't tell you how many times I've made a video and I get to the very end and I'm like, this sound didn't record. Great. So you got to go back and do the whole thing over again. So make sure that your audio is working. Right, built-in microphone. Most devices nowadays have a built-in microphone. I'm going to talk a little later about some of the best practices with screencasting. But yeah, most devices have your built-in microphone, and you can click on that and test it there. So I wouldn't.
Sorry,
yeah.
Someone else with an iPad, it says no.
Oh, it's not letting you do Screencast-O-Matic?
Try recording on Windows or Mac device unsupported.
Yeah, actually I can show you something really quick. I'll just pause.
All right.
Oh no, you're fine. I went around earlier and I kind of showed on, there is a way, if you have an iPad at home, there's a way to add a screen capture device, or the screen recording session, or app, sorry, on there. So you add screen recording, it's in the control center, and then it's available for you. So if you want to record your app screens, or if you want to record on your iPad, then you just slide down and you press that record button there. Yeah, so that should be available to you, but you wouldn't be able, on a device, you wouldn't be able to use Screencast-O-Matic. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and press record. There, let's see if it'll let you. So under preferences, this is where you can mess around with the hotkeys. I personally have not been able to get them to work. I don't think that you need them very much. There's like a pause hotkey, but like I said, I haven't gotten them to work for me. So if you can get them to work for you, and if you want to play around with this, you can, but just leave them as the default. That's your best bet. So you don't need to worry about these hotkeys. Whoa, okay. So I'm going to record just for a second. It'll give me a countdown just to let me know. So I'm going to click around. It's recording my screen. There we go. All right, and then I'm just going to come down to this pause button and stop recording. If you like what you did, or if it was a mistake or anything like that, you can just immediately trash it. But if you like it, you can press done, and it will give you these options. What's nice about Screencast-O-Matic is that it has the free version will allow you to trim the beginning and the end. And that's usually, because there's kind of the first couple of minutes where you're like kind of getting started and getting all set up. So usually the beginning or in the end are the parts you want to trim anyways. So they do have basic editing tools in there if you don't have access to video editing tools. So you can upload to Screencast-O-Matic to the website or upload to YouTube. I don't recommend either of those. I would say save it as a video file, and if you want to upload it to YouTube, then just do that later. So I would say save as a video file, An MP4 is fine. This is where you would change the file name. I'm just going to say test and where it's going to go. The highlight cursor, you didn't see it on my screen, but the export, every time you click your mouse, it has like a highlight circle that pops up. And actually, I think on Screencast-O-Matic, it has a circle around your mouse the whole time anyways. So that's kind of nice for your students, because the worst thing is if they can't see where your mouse is, because it's real small. So it kind of just makes the mouse a little bit bigger for that. So I'm just going to press publish, and it should be good to go. And it's on my desktop right there. So I'm done. Oh. And there we go. So that's Screencast-O-Matic. Super easy to use. Probably what I would recommend for anyone. So no matter what device you're using, Windows or Mac, then I would suggest using a Screencast-O-Matic. I'm going to show you really, really quick. Let's see if I can exit out of this. There we go. Sorry. I'm going to show you really quick QuickTime. It's going to take me 2 seconds. I think we've got just one Mac user. Yeah, one Mac user. But QuickTime is built into every Mac device. I'm sorry, not iPads. So computer, laptop, or computer. So I've clicked on QuickTime. You might have to search for it in your applications. If you don't look up at the bar up at the top, you can't even notice that it's open. So QuickTime Player is open. All I would do is go to File, and you do New Screen Recording if you want to record your screen. If you want to record a webcam recording, you do New Video Recording. So this is New Movie Recording. So if you want to do a webcam or a screen recording, you can do either one. So New Screen Recording, let's see all. And if I press record, and same thing before you get started, make sure that your microphone is correct. And you can see it's the correct one because the bars are going back and forth. But you just press that little drop down arrow and you can do internal microphone. And I would suggest, can you guys see that? That's so small. It says show mouse clicks in recording. If you have that option, always choose it. So just real quick and easy. Start recording. And we're good to go. So it's actually recording right now. And there's a little recording button right up here at the top. Sorry, that is so small. To stop it, that's all I do. So quick and easy if you have a Mac computer. I didn't realize that there were going to be so many PC users today. Otherwise, I would show you guys how to do record your screen in Xbox Live. What I can do is create a screencast for you really after this and send it out to you guys. So that way it's a little more helpful. But that is your built-in option if you're a PC user. It's a little clunky to get around to, but if you just want a built-in option, the Xbox Live app is a good tool. So there we go. All very easy, very simple, very intuitive, and you can record your screen at any time. But yes, like I said, Screencast-O-Matic would probably be your best bet.
Would you be able to show us on Screencast-O-Matic how you cut the beginning and the end of the video?
Oh yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't do that. Let me open that back up really quick. All right, Screencast-O-Matic. Sorry, it'll take me a second. Start recorder. Launch recorder. Let's see if it'll go. All right, so I'm just going to record really quick. We'll get started, and I'll show you guys what it looks like afterwards. All right, so once you get into this window, once you press done, you're going to come to these little sidebars right here. Can you guys see that okay? Yeah. These sidebars here, and if you want to trim the end, you just drag it in. And if you want to trim the beginning, you just drag that in too, and you can preview it before you export it. Yeah, it's really quick and easy. There's you can add music to this, but there's only 3 options, and they're kind of cheesy, so I wouldn't recommend adding music, so you probably don't want to do that. But if you want to, and if it you can if you want. And also, we have a closed captioning service, so you don't need to worry about doing the closed captioning, but we have a service that does that, so just contact your local ID, and we'll get you captioned. Yeah, you can. So you can add captions to this recording. But all right, yeah, any other questions about Screencast-O-Matic that I can answer? Yes?
Again, this is gonna sound silly, but so you said 15 minutes is, I'm guessing it's at a time, right?
Yeah,
You can
it'll...
have as many sessions, so it's still under the free version. You can do as many as you want as long as it is next to 15 minutes at a time.
Yeah, exactly. So and you're not limited to the amount either. So it's not like you'll fill, because if you save file as, if you upload to Screencast-O-Matic, then it might tell you, okay, you're at your max. But if you save to your desktop, it's however many video files your desktop can save. So yeah, it's 15 minutes, however many you want. Yeah. So it's a really great tool. Yes, sir.
Two questions. Are there any tricks in terms of if I've saved it to a file on my computer, uploading to D2L, and then the other one, there was something like $1.50 a month, full service. I mean, is it?
Yeah, I would, if you, well, I would say, yeah, it's $1.50 a month, and if you are doing a lot of screencasting and video editing, then their Premiere version is really nice, and you can also add text. You can do a lot more with the transitions. You can add arrows and zooming in and zooming out. However, I have a couple of things I can show you that you do have access to free versions of some video editing tools on both PC and Macs. So if you wanted to, you could spend that $1.50, but there are free ways to do that. It might be a little bit more difficult to navigate, but yeah, so it's kind of whichever one you want. But if you're doing a lot of screencasts, their premium version is really nice, and it's not bad for a video editing service. So that's what I would recommend.
Any tricks to getting it to D2L?
I think how we usually do it is you want to upload it into your My Media, and the IDs can correct me if that process has changed or anything like that. But yeah, you want to upload it to My Media through Kaltura, and that way it's all saved on your within your D2L account, and then that way you can connect it on there. I'm trying to think of the best way to say that. But once you have it in My Media, then you can just easily add it wherever you want in your courses. So.
That brings up another question.
Sure.
But, why not just do Kaltura? So what does Screencast-O-Matic offer that the Kaltura that we got?
Yeah, so Kaltura does not have a screen recording feature that I know of, or at least what we have available. Kaltura does not. It's just more of a video like service, or it's more where you put your videos, not where you would create your videos, as far as I know. Sorry? Yeah, it's a hosting. Yeah. So it's more of a server. It's not where you would actually create content. So as far as I know. But yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and keep moving. Let's see. All right, I'm going to delete. All right, so a couple of best practices for creating a screencast. Like I've mentioned before, you want to start with your most common questions. Just start there. And another good place to start is introducing your module. So before every module, maybe have like a little introduction or something like that. So that's a good place to start. Or even if you just want to have a introduction video, that this is me, this is who I am, that kind of thing. You can do that with screencasting or screen recording. Write a script. I have learned this the hard way. If you don't write a script, you're just gonna and ah and all over the place. Even if you know this like the back of your hand, you're gonna and ah if you don't have a script ready. So I would really highly suggest having a script. One trick that I do is I have my script on my device and record and kind of just put it right underneath my screen as I'm recording, and that way it's just right under, and you have that readily available. So I would definitely suggest writing a script. Practice, practice, practice. Just do it over and over again. It just helps. Then it's just rote memory. Test the software beforehand. That's always a good thing to do to make sure, like we said, and next one too, microphones, make sure that your sound is working, make sure that it works on your computer, make sure that there's not any issue. Just do a test really quick before you get started, because you don't want to get to the very end of it and realize it didn't record or the sound didn't record, etc. So, microphones, your built-in mic is fine. I mean, you don't have to worry about making a big production quality kind of deal. You can if you want, and if you're really doing a lot of screencasts, and if you just have if you want to do that, but you don't need to. Really, a lot of our devices and what we have available to us now does what we need it to do. So it doesn't need to be a big production, and that's just more on your plate. So if you have access to a nice microphone, then definitely use it. But if you don't, then your built-in mic is fine, or sometimes there's microphones on like earbuds, that kind of thing. But you also run the risk of that constantly rubbing on your shirt or something like that. So find a quiet place to record. Just close your office door if you have to. Don't record between classes when people are walking by, things like that. So yeah, just find a quiet place for recording. I usually do this. You don't have to do it, but clean up your desktop. So if you have a very cluttered desktop and there's just folders and apps and things everywhere, then I would recommend cleaning up your desktop. What I usually do before recording is I just make a little folder that says desktop. I select all of my folders and apps and things like that, click and drag it into my desktop folder, and then that way I don't have to go back and find it or delete it or something like that. That way it's just in a little folder and your desktop's just a little cleaner. Turn off notifications. So the last thing you want is if you have where a text might pop up, or if you're something like that, if your iCloud is connected or anything, then you want to make sure that that's turned off, or if an email pops up, that could be embarrassing in the middle of things.
I just realized we put it on there, but as on the topic of cleaning up your desktop, don't have any personally revealing information on your screen. Credit card number, social security number. Just be
Exactly.
aware that be aware of the information you're putting out intentionally or unintentionally.
Right, yeah, exactly. So things like that, just like you would have if you had guests over to your house, you might tidy up or something like that. So just good practice.
I would say, just to add to his point, just not desktop, but just look behind you, even just in case you're recording from home, in case if you want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm personally not a fan of doing from my own phone, because I want to keep, if it's not a work phone, I don't want to use it for work.
Yeah.
So if you do it, so mind your surroundings as well as your desktop, as he said, because you never know. It's what you're comfortable with. I mean,
Right. What books are behind you? Yeah.
things where someone, there's a professor, then baby walks in and it's cute and everybody likes it. But for me, I don't want that to happen. I want that to.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense to maybe draw the line. And then these things happen when you're not thinking about it. So
Yeah.
would it make sense in that sense to have someone, before you upload it, just have some other person to see it in case you miss something, just by chance, because you're not thinking, hey, blah blah blah, your wallet was in a while.
Yeah.
I can see your credit card numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you really, another part of that too is not just with personal information, but also it being distracting. If you have a real busy background, then your viewer might just be looking at what's behind you, or looking at your bookshelf, or something like that. So or if you have like a fan going and all that, I don't know, it might just be distracting. So if you just keep it simple, just find a blank wall and a quiet space, and all that. So that should be pretty easy to do. A couple of editing tips. If you make a mistake, just take a pause and take a breath and keep going. You don't have to worry about starting all over again, because you can always trim that out if you need to. And I'll show you guys some ways, or there are some editing tools to trim that out. Another tip, you could do this. I don't do it because I just don't think of it. I'm just not coordinated enough. But you could have like a red card next to you that if you make a mistake in the middle of your video, you could just like hold it up almost at like, those Brazilian steakhouses or something. You just hold up a red card that okay, this part was a mistake, cut out before and after. So you could do that if you wanted. Trim and cut out the dead spots. If you're doing a screen recording on like a technical process, this next one I also say as well, I would recommend logging in, almost having different tabs open that are already logged into whatever you might be using. So if like for example, Screencast-O-Matic, I made sure that that screen was open so I didn't have to go through all the login process, because then you're just sitting there watching someone log in, or the screen is loading or things like that. But if that happens, then you can just cut out that dead spot if you need to. And there are some tools, if you are staying afterwards for the iMovie workshop, then there are some ways actually to speed up a clip. I don't know so much about the photo editor, the video tool for PC. I don't know if there's a way to speed that up, but you can. That's one option, is to speed it up later. Like we said, try to keep it short. Length is really important. Keep it 2 to 3 minutes. I would say 15 minutes maximum because you have to with Screencast-O-Matic. So I would say 15 minutes actually. Zoom in when you can. If you are coordinated and savvy enough to know your keyboard shortcuts on when to zoom in. I know on most Macs it's like Command plus. Or I'm not sure what it would be for PC, but is it all? Control plus, yeah, it's usually, you just switch those over. So if you can zoom in or out when you can, if you don't, then maybe just afterwards in post you can crop your frame if you need to. Yeah, like I said, become familiar with keyboard shortcuts. Check your lighting. You don't want to film right in front of a window because then it's all just going to be shadow. One tip that I would recommend, that if you just have a naturally dark space or dark office, and you're doing a webcam recording, you could change your desktop to background to a lighter desktop. Like I have this one actually for that reason. It's just a lighter color, and whenever I'm doing a webcam recording, let's see if that'll come up, the light on my face is brighter, so it's not quite so dark. Let's see if I'll just open Photo Booth and you guys can see that. So you can kind of see the way that it at least bounces some light off of my face right there. So that would be a recommendation. But yeah, just check your lighting, or put a lamp behind your computer or something like that. So, or the best case scenario is you would be facing a window. That would get the best light on your face. So yeah, just check your lighting, just make sure it's not completely in the dark, but you don't need to make it a big production. You don't need to worry about it being, just perfect or anything like that. But if you do want it to be perfect and you really want to do a great job, we have a great UCO eStudio video team. Shout out to Bill and Andrew. So if you really want to make a great production, then we have those capabilities for you guys. And we are happy to work with you on that. Some tools for screencasting. Let me check my time real quick. Screen recording, Screencast-O-Matic, and then QuickTime on Macs that I showed you guys. The Xbox Live app on PC, and we have, I'd hate to leave all the PC people hanging. I didn't mean to do that. But like I said, I can make a screencast really quickly for you guys and send it out later on how to use the Xbox Live app, which is built into most of on Windows 10 at least, how to use that for screen recording. It's just easy and you don't have to add an application or anything like that. But Screencast-O-Matic is your best bet. Video editing, iMovie for Mac users, super simple. And then the photo tool, this is not where you would expect it to be. There's not like a video, I think there was like Windows Movie Maker, I don't even know if that's still around. But the photo app actually has something called, I want to say like a video creation or video collection, something along those lines, that you can add transitions and a lot of different things within the photo app on your computer. So, and then also for screen recording, I showed a few, I think everyone who brought a iPad that there is a way to add a screen capture device or the screen capture button onto your device. You could also do that on your phone as well. It's in the control center and you just add it like an application. So, all right. Well, that's what I've got for you guys mostly today, but I'd also like to take some time to answer any questions. Also, if you want to, you can just hang around afterwards if you have a specific question, or if you want me to show you just in person, I can show some people maybe the Xbox Live app, or if you have a specific question, then just let me know. But yeah, if there's any questions, I'm happy to ask.